and welcome to this episode of Armchair Quarterbacks. I'm Tim,
I'm Richard.
and today we're going to talk about a business's obligation to use AI or not.
He went up at the end because it's a question. Obligation?
Or not. So enjoy this episode. Let's get into it. Pretty interesting. I have a take on it. I know that you mentioned you have a take on it.
Yeah, I think our takes are similar, and we need to have people point and disagree with us or something, because I think otherwise we're going to be an echo chamber. Yeah.
So why don't you shoot and let's.
Okay.
I don't know if I can play devil's advocate or not, but I can try.
Yeah. What role should it play? It should play a big role. It should be, to the extent possible, it should be. It should take every boring job you have in your organization.
What about interesting jobs? What about legal jobs? What about creative jobs like sales or marketing?
Sorry, lawyers, but legal ain't interesting.
Legal, accounting, sales.
Not interesting.
Well, not interesting to you. I think there's probably people that are interested in it. Marketing. Like AI, I think is going to eat all of those industries.
Yeah.
Is there an obligation that business owners, particularly owners of young businesses, have to research, have to not leverage AI to the extent possible and keep their staff costs low, their labor costs low? Is there a moral obligation?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Is there a moral obligation to keep their people on? You said keep staff costs low, which would mean automation. And I thought when you were heading down the moral path, it was about not replacing humans with non-humans.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Is
Okay.
Do leaders of young technology young companies have an obligation to hire humans as opposed to leverage AI to the extent possible?
I think you should use it as much as you can where you can. I think so. We have a bridge in the state of Washington, here in Western Washington, that crosses um, Lake Washington, right by the University of Washington. That's commonly known as the 520 Bridge. It is named after Governor A.D. Rossellini, so it's actually the Governor A.D. Rossellini Bridge. It was originally made at about the time that the World Fair came to Seattle, which is when the Space Needle was made, and had fountains at both ends and stuff that they tried to recreate in like the late 90s, early aughts. It's a floating bridge. It's made of pontoons, but it's a 4-lane highway, 6-lane highway, 3 lanes in each way. And it originally was, when they first built it, it was a toll bridge, and you would pay a toll and go across. And when the bonds that were made to build the bridge were paid off, they took down the toll. So for probably 20 years, it was not a toll bridge. And then they rebuilt it, and it's now a toll bridge again because it was very expensive to redo the bridge. And I remember at the time, and they announced it's going to be a toll bridge, and they're going to have a camera system. It's going to be an automated toll. Takes a picture of your license plate. If you have an account already, it's $3 per crossing. If you don't have an account and they have to bill you through the mail, it's $5 a crossing, whatever. And the price goes up and down based upon volume and time of day and whatnot. Anyway, it's so sometimes you pay more, sometimes you pay less. I remember when that got announced, talking with my pa, and my dad was like, "Can't believe they're doing that. Think of all those jobs that could have been um, to operate that
Collect
toll,
tolls.
to collect tolls." And I said, "Oh my God, I don't want my kids having that job. Why would I want anyone else's kids to have that job?
Hmm.
That's a crappy job." And instead, we're going to have it needs software, it needs computer vision to read the numbers on the plates under all sorts of obvious of conditions. It needs to have camera systems that work under those conditions. Some guy is grinding the lenses. Some person is grinding the lenses on those cameras, right? Making them fabulous, like making it see in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
So hardware, software.
seems like a better job. Hardware, software, front end software, back end software, computer vision, right? Because it goes straight into their billing, right? It's got to be like I identify. What is interesting to me is you have a little thing that tells the system that you have an account and what account you are. I don't think that thing turns off the cameras. The cameras just are the cameras, and they're taking pictures of everybody's license plates.
Yep.
And then, so it's got to go through a filtering system where it's like, oh no, these license plates are associated with these accounts, so therefore they don't get the $5 payment. They get right. So there's a whole back end system that is going against a database, cleaning it up, putting together literally physical invoices in some cases for some accounts, and sending those out versus matching versus right.
Yeah.
It's not an uncomplex system. That sure sounds like a much more interesting line of work than making change for a shift and then swapping over to someone else so they can make change for their shift.
And likely employing far more people.
Probably more people.
At a higher rate.
At a higher rate.
Yeah.
I think it's probably much more leverageable so that you need to take our system plus San Francisco. Like like all software, you build once, sell many times. That's how you make money, right?
Yep.
As opposed to build it, sell it, build it, sell it, build it, sell it, build it, sell it, right? So a labor-based system like making change, build it, sell it, right? Building the software, grinding those lenses, doing it right the first time, having it made in machines after that, great. But there's more value built in the system. There's more interesting jobs. Those jobs are ongoing because there's always going to be some snafu in the system where billing got screwed up, or a lens that didn't work right, or a camera that goes down, or evolving technology so that it's like, look, this only caught plates 80% of the time at night, and now I've got one that catches plates 90% of the time at night.
Right.
Do that. So you're constantly inventing too. You're not hey, I came up with a new way to make change for a data.
License plate changes, moving into new territories.
Yeah.
I mean, there's finding new uses for the same technology. So you go from taking pictures of license plate at highways to facial recognition at Mariners games.
So what's my point? My point is when I make trite statements like, it's almost your responsibility as a business leader to eliminate boring jobs, right? It's like, why isn't it your responsibility to put in automation and AI? Because you can elevate your staff. You can elevate humanity by taking them out of drudgery. Imagine if they hadn't come up with a cotton gin. Imagine if they hadn't come up with a harvesting equipment.
So what do you believe a CEO, I'm going to say, I don't want to say a startup CEO, but a young company CEO, what do you believe their obligation is?
I think they have an obligation to three constituents, three sets of constituents, and I think that obligation is the same. And I think, therefore, the message is the same. I want you to join me on my crusade to achieve this vision.
Yep.
When faced with difficult times, you have to remind yourself as the CEO of the organization that your responsibility is to the vision of the organization. Because by serving the vision of the organization, you are serving its shareholders, its customers, its employees, and to a lesser extent, your suppliers and vendors. Now, I say to a lesser extent, but in a world where you're using more and more third parties to do more things, that becomes a real constituency.
Yeah.
You think they work for you, and you are their customer, so they're one of your three. But if you're serving those three, if you're serving your vision, you are serving those three, and then you don't have to pick. I hear in questions like you stated, and I know you didn't mean it that way, but I'm sensitive to it because oftentimes I hear that question posed in which are you going to choose, which of your constituents is most important. And I think that's a fallacy.
You actually took your response a different direction than I was thinking in my head. So the answer I would have come up with had you posed the question to me would have been your responsibility is to the business's success.
Okay.
And through the business's success,
Yeah,
all those constituents are met. Now,
I think we're saying the same thing.
Here's the
difference
conundrum, the challenge where I take my thought to the logical conclusion to this particular topic. At some point, does a CEO have obligation? May not be the right word. Does a CEO have a responsibility, maybe, to society? And if a CEO has a responsibility to society, does that include supporting human beings?
Yeah.
I don't think so, by the way.
And I don't. Again, I feel like I'm being put into a false choice.
Nice.
In that the presumption is, by, in your words, making the organization successful, that's somehow inhumane, meaning unhuman, unsupportive of humanity. Maybe that's why I like my version better, which I think is saying the exact same thing, which is, if you're serving the vision of the organization, the natural outcome is going to be its success, right? So I think we're saying the same thing. And I can't imagine almost by definition, you can't have customers if it's not serving, like, your vision. It's hard for me to imagine a situation where serving the vision of your organization is at the cost of humanity as opposed to its benefit. Otherwise, how are you going to get customers? And so therefore, going all the way back to the question, if you're serving the vision of your organization, which is going to serve its three constituents to the betterment of humanity, it's serving three constituents, then whatever level of use of AI best serves that vision, best achieves that outcome, is what you should do.
Right.
I don't. This is the same. Remember, I'm the guy that worries less about carving up equity because it presumes the pie is of a certain size.
Right.
I'm the guy that is thinking about how do we make the pie bigger?
Yeah.
Because then every slice is enough.
Yeah. Yep.
Every slice is generous in a big pie. If you're worrying about slicing up your pie, if that's really a thing, and it's really a thing in some things, and when is it really a thing? When the pie is too small, when the pie is small, and the pie ain't going to grow,
Yeah.
and that's all you got is that pie.
I've heard lots of
pies of disappointment.
I've heard lots of talk recently about abundance theory.
Hmm.
I was listening to a political podcast today.
I don't know this.
Talking about, I'm referring to abundance theory, which is the way I interpreted what they were saying is spend like crazy, we'll grow out of the problem. So there's this world of unlimited, infinite abundance, and as opposed to try to constrain spending.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't buy it at all. I think
is it like trickle down economics?
For things like, in order for that theory to be true, the resource would have to be infinite, meaning there would have to be infinite money. Because the pie just keeps growing and growing and growing, right?
Okay.
I think there are things where that's true. Love. I think there is infinite love.
And hate.
Yeah, probably, and hate. Yeah.
My hating you doesn't take anything away from my ability to hate someone else.
I was going to say from others' ability to hate me.
Yeah. That too. Yes, so many overlapping regions of hate. But yeah, no, love is the same way. My love for my daughter does not take away from my love for my son.
Yeah.
Right?
Or Brenda, or your...
Right? Yeah. There's enough to go around. It's an infinite supply.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
as is my hate.
This economic theory.
Same. Yeah, I would have interpreted that.
Who do you think is putting this theory forward?
Yeah.
GOP or liberals?
My guess would be the GOP side.
Can you frickin' believe that?
Yeah, I can.
That is not the GOP of the 80s that I grew up in.
Yeah. So where I was thinking it was going was, if we accumulate enough wealth, we'll be able to solve the problems as they come up. If we're poor, we won't be able to solve the problems. That intellectually, conceptually, logically, there you go. Logically, I can understand that. Now, we all know that logic isn't always true. You can have infallible logic and have it be entirely false. Look at all the business failures in the world, built on fantastic logic. Because isn't it true that?
Pets.com.
Pets.com. Isn't it true that? So I can understand the logic. Like, if we had sufficient resources, we can overcome anything. So then what we should do is we should do our best to accumulate as many resources as possible now so that we can overcome any problem in the future. I think that's probably what certain economies in the Middle East are based on. Oil's going to run out. Oil's going to run out. And so this is where I was thinking about what you said when you said, wealth is infinite, but everything else is not.
Right.
And in that case, we grow our wealth and create the engine, the flywheel, because the original source of that flywheel is going to dry up.
You just got to outrun it.
And you got to outrun it. So that holds together logically. I'm not saying that's a true statement, because I've seen too many logical arguments fail miserably. But
think about what OpenAI is doing. That's essentially what they're doing through their cap raising. They have, I don't know how many hundreds of billions of dollars that they've raised, and that they are then committing, 3 times the that amount to others on the assumption that they're going to continue to grow. I think they're doing exactly the same thing. It's an abundance theory thing that they will outgrow every problem that they have, and by the way, if they fall, much of the Mag 7 falls, much of the NASDAQ falls, much of the S&P falls, much of the US economy falls. NVIDIA. So let's hope they don't fall.
Yeah. Two things. When the internet was young, big boom, built on a similar sort of theory. Grow at all costs. Don't worry about profitability. Just burn money.
Yeah.
Right? Grow big quick was literally Amazon's mantra until they had to flip the switch. And then it went from grow big quick to something make profit fast.
Yeah. Oh God, I hope we can make a profit is what I recall.
Get profitable quick. Grow big quick to get profitable now. Get profitable. I don't know. It was from one thing to another. And there is, if I recall right, some sort of rule of 40 where companies are valued more if they have growth of 40% or operating profits of 40% or some combination of the two that adds up to 40%.
Right.
So you can have 20-20 and you'll be $1 billion company. You can have 40-0, you're $1 billion company. Or 80-40. Right?
Okay.
80% growth, but negative 40%. So, but it's like some sort of rule of 40. I don't know what math that's based on. Someone look that up. But presuming that someone said, if you're growing at that level, you'll get to the point where then you have enough resources to be able to manage whatever you need to manage in order to get there. And many companies didn't. And some companies did.
Pets.com.
And it worked out. Yeah, and it worked out. So I think requiring the Magnificent Seven, you call them, what are they called?
Yeah.
The Magnificent Seven to all be successful. If that's really what's required economically, that's not going to work. If what's required to work is a couple of them work, 3, maybe 3 is a magic number, and 4 can fail miserably, then I don't know. It feels like who's in charge of ChatGPT?
The CEO.
No, not the CEO. The company.
OpenAI.
OpenAI. It wouldn't surprise me if OpenAI doesn't make it.
Yeah, that's
for example.
So, NVIDIA is tied to them. Oracle is tied to them. I mean, Microsoft is tied to them. If they don't make it, the economy falls apart. It feels like a house of cards right now.
Yeah, I just got a bad feeling about them.
Yep.
And I'm a daily user of their services, so it's kind of funny that I say that. But I'm watching it decay. I'm watching it not be as useful. I'm watching others pass them.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned this before. We've played with other LLMs, a number of other LLMs right now. And the most recent Gemini release.
Yeah, I agree.
It's quite good.
Yep.
And because we use Google Workspace, we get it free.
Yep. No, I use Gemini. I use Gemini in a number of, particularly when working on certain clients who have it because they have it. So I use their tools to ensure that it's within their sandbox.
Yeah.
So any work that I do for them, I do on their tools. Um, yeah. Can't remember the person that said it, but they were saying that the ultimate winners are going to be ones that can do well in one or more of the four things, like chipset, database, algorithm, channel. I think those were the four.
Yeah.
And Google is the only one that has all four.
Yeah.
Everybody else has one piece of it, right? I have the chipset, but I don't have this other stuff. I have the algorithm, right? ChatGPT. I have the algorithm, but I'm gaining the data, but I don't really have these other things, right? I've got the database, and I'm trying to figure it out because I have to figure it out because search is now dead. Or I've got the channel. I've got the way to. I own the eyeballs. I own the people. Whatever. And Google's the only one that has all four.
Yeah. Yeah. Their last release was quite good.
Yeah. Been disappointed in Apple.
I keep thinking, they've always been a follower.
Yeah, they really have.
I have to say the Apple Intelligence products that I use now are pretty behind, and they're kind of terrible.
Siri is awful. Siri, you're awful.
Yeah. Interestingly, I find the same about Alexa. Alexa, the Amazon intelligence products are terrible. They have Alexa Plus, maybe we're part of the
the
household
beta
here.
thing.
Yeah, we're part of the beta, and it's pretty terrible.
Oh, okay, that's too bad.
And it's really verbose. Like,
oh, that I hate.
I don't want to have a conversation every time I ask you what the weather's like. I just want to know what the weather's like.
Yeah, no, that overeager intern.
Yeah,
as my friend calls it, I hate that. Like that, that needs to be a dial somewhere.
Yeah,
that needs to be a.
Yeah, I've told it to be concise, and it'll be concise for a conversation, but not for very long.
Yeah, ChatGPT, I have definitely told, and it's now better at waiting.
It's now contrite,
and it waits for stuff.
Oh,
right. Because I'll be like, I upload this, and then I upload that, and then I upload this other thing, and it's like, right? It's like, that's great, and so, and here's what I would do with it. I need you to wait until I upload everything, right? Because I do things piecemeal, right? It's like a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of whatever, and like just wait. You have no idea where I'm going with this. Clearly, if you would pay attention, you absolutely would know where I'm going with this, and you could get started on that, but you don't. So on the easy stuff, I use Gemini now more often. Yeah. If I just have a quick question.
Well, let's see if we can land the plane a little bit here. Original question was, or topic here was, kind of where should a young company leverage AI? And I think we both come down to wherever you can.
Because it's the right thing to do for your customers. It's the right thing to do for your people. It's the right thing to do for your investors. It's the right thing to do in service of your vision. Here's another way, I guess I would pose it, which is to say, you were a manufacturer in the 80s. How much should you consider using robotics in your manufacturing facility?
All of the robotics.
As much as you can, right?
Yeah.
Or else, but don't you have people on the line that'll be displaced? Yep. And me being around saves all the other jobs. Otherwise, I'll lose. I have a choice between losing all the jobs or losing some of the, or replacing some of those jobs. Because now, instead of having line workers doing welding, I now have these robots doing welding, which means I am paying money toward a software team to run those robots, toward the mechanical engineers that design those robots, to the people that are assembling those robots, right? Or the robots that are assembling those robots, and then I've got those people. It's not that we always end up back at full employment. I know that some people think that's a fallacy, and that somehow this will be different this time. But we introduced the PC in the late 80s, early 90s. You don't see folks delivering documents on bicycles anymore. Change the law profession, change the accounting profession tremendously. You need a tenth of the accountants we used to have.
Yeah.
The introduction of the PC was absolutely disruptive, and we ended up back at full employment. The introduction of the robot in manufacturing, absolutely disruptive. It did not create the demise in manufacturing in the United States. Outsourcing did, right? That's a whole separate thing, but it wasn't the robot. And it's the only way for companies like Japan to continue to stay competitive.
Yeah. Interestingly, I would say we maintained the interesting and complex manufacturing here.
Yeah. So manufacturing of, like you said, complex medical devices,
Aerospace.
aerospace, all the hard stuff is still done.
The high
here.
margin, high value, the design stuff.
So therefore, it justifies a higher wage rate.
Yeah. And that fits into our economy, right? The lower value manufacturing has been outsourced. I think that is as it should be, and great. Like, you hear people say, I want all this manufacturing back. I don't. I don't. I want.
don't know why. Yeah.
There's a perception that they're honorable jobs.
Okay.
And okay, yeah,
Right. All work is honorable.
yeah.
All work is honorable. Period.
We are in a global economy. Us wishing away a global economy is not going to happen. So
because the value of gluing soles onto shoes is worth $5 an hour. You cannot live in the United States on $5 an hour.
yeah. Or your shoes are $20,000, right? We could.
The value of gluing a sole on a shoe is $5, or whatever. It's not 20,000. You're bastardizing the economics of shoes by making it such that someone has to pay $20,000 for a shoe. Then what you've done is you're telling people, pay $5 for the shoe and pay $19,995 for social credence, for some other thing. It's a tax.
So this is really off topic, but it's something that's been
bugging you.
I haven't been able to figure out.
Okay.
So,
Lord knows I've got a chance then.
I think you probably, I think you probably can. So, we have a problem in the country with underemployment. That is, people can't afford to live. Like, take New York as a great, easy example, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average worker in that region just doesn't make enough money hourly to be able to pay the bills. So the response that I've heard, not just in New York, but I hear it all the time, and I don't get it, is, all right, well, we'll just set a minimum wage of $25 an hour or whatever it is. Like, take it from $7.14, I think, to $25 an hour.
Better way. Yeah.
Okay, so interesting. So if we do that, doesn't it just take all costs from position A to position B?
Yeah.
Like, hamburgers are more, shoes are more, like everything gets more expensive. So the have-nots remain the have-nots.
Just making $100,000 a year.
But they're making $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing something in this argument because I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it.
The presumption that the cost of items will stay the same as wages goes up, I think, is a bad assumption. that you can force, you can essentially tax an item with greater labor cost and have that be not passed through, right?
It's the
So
same argument that they made about tariffs that
yeah,
I don't understand. If
I,
there is additional cost, there is either margin compression or the price goes up.
yep, yep,
That's just how it is.
yep. So maybe there's a large swath of the electorate that believes that there's so much profit in the system that it is the equivalent of a redistribution of
Mm,
wealth by increasing the wages because the price won't change. But I can't imagine that's a true statement. If the cost of everything goes up, then it used to cost $50,000 to live in Brooklyn, and now it's going to cost $100,000 to live in Brooklyn because everything is more expensive. Well, now moving someone from $50,000 a year to $100,000 a year didn't improve their situation at all.
right.
They went from just getting by to just getting by.
Yeah.
Productivity is what has to change.
I guess just to stick on this thought of higher wages, I guess the theory has to be that, yep, there will be margin compression because
Yep.
the alternative, higher prices,
Won't fly.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
And it's okay if there's margin compression because there's so much margin in the,
Rich people can pay it.
yeah, you're seeing a
That wealth is
proliferation of
concentrated,
billionaire-
and
yeah.
it's a form of redistribution, right? We're taking that margin compression and giving it to the workers, right? We're taking it
We're
from
taking it away from shareholders, and the billionaires happen to be
yeah.
part of those. But
remember, if you're not
That's
participating
really-
in the market, you don't care about shareholders.
when the company closes, you do.
Yeah, I swear I don't think people think about that.
These are smart people that are saying this stuff, though.
I'm not willing to stipulate that. I think these are politically motivated people that are saying these things.
Hmm.
And, isn't it true that I think there's a lot of folks that believe in their form of logic,
Yeah.
and they believe that their logic holds, therefore it must be true. I've heard a number of folks talk about communism still being an appropriate form of economics. And when someone says, didn't work in Russia, didn't work, oh, it was just done wrong there. Right?
Oh, okay.
It is a belief system. My Bible is true, right?
Yeah.
And so therefore, if someone wasn't following in the footsteps, they just did it wrong. It wasn't that the message was wrong. It was that their execution was wrong. It's like, well, sometimes humanity acts the way humanity acts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Any system that's based on anything but that,
Yeah. China, Russia, like the big communist countries have classes. They have rich people. It's not all, it's not all equal.
it is
Some are
not
more
egalitarian. No.
equal. No. Okay. So thank you for playing with me.
Yeah.
With that, I was
I
thinking I
don't
missed
think you're,
something.
no,
but-
I don't think you're wrong.
Okay. Well, so
It's got to come from productivity. What we need to do is we need to take that, and if we can generate, if the same human can generate more value, then that human should be able to claim some more of that value. So to the extent that there has been increased value creation and it hasn't been shared with the worker, then it has gone into margin.
Yeah.
And so therefore there's plenty of room for margin compression and redistribution. There's a guy I saw on the internet, and he said something, I'm going to get it wrong. And he said something that I found that I wanted to unpack at some point, and I haven't had a chance to think about it, which was, um, business owner has 10 employees that make $5, and he sells all his product for $10. So he makes $5. The employees get $5. Someone invents a new machine that can replace half the workers. Sells $10 worth of stuff, pays $2.50 to his workers, makes $7.50 now, and keeps the $7.50.
The machine was free?
That's part of the fallacy, yes. But the argument, his next step in that is, what he could have done is he could have either, yes, I think the way he says it is, he could have kept the 5 people, continued to pay them $5, but now they're each working half as what they worked before.
Right.
Right? So he's still making $5 out of the $10. He's still making $5. They're, as a group, making $5, but they all can have lots more vacation.
But the machine is free?
I understand. So I agree. The machine is not free and has been produced by other workers elsewhere. But I think in listening to that construct,
Yeah.
I understand European socialism.
Hmm.
European socialism is stated in that construct, that any efficiencies, right, any productivity increases that are created should go to the worker.
Yeah. So that's, as we talk about AI and AI replacing workers and
Mm-hmm.
destroying industries.
Jobs.
Yeah. Well, not just whole industries.
Yep.
An idea I've heard floated is an AI tax. So, in that AI tax would then fund worker re-education and unemployment and whatnot. So it's the same kind of idea. I mean, it gets to the same principle.
If you play the tape all the way forward and you say all rote work everywhere is replaced by smart robots, so you don't need anyone in the fields, you don't need anyone digging ditches, building roads, you don't need anyone sweeping up your house and mowing your lawn and building homes and doing all that stuff, right? Doing operations, let's not just make it manual labor. Doing operations, writing legal briefs, right? If you play that tape all the way forward, then what is it called? Not social income, the basic income. The concept of basic income, would have to be true, or else you're left with civil war. Young unemployed people pick up guns.
Yeah.
So, right, if you play the tape all the way forward and you say, okay, everyone has the little, what was it in Star Trek, the little hollow thing where you could order tea or a sweater or whatever, like it could build you anything.
Yeah.
Then, like, what are people left doing? We have a little bit of that today. In that, I think I looked it up. You can go to IKEA and you can get a coffee table for under $100, 70 some bucks or something, maybe even less. Built by a machine, scraped out of cheap trees and delivered cheap ways and scratched together by robots and stuff.
Yep.
Or you can go on Etsy and buy a coffee table made by a true artisan with multicolored wood glued together in fabulous ways, sanded just right and finished perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to McDonald's
Mm.
And yes, they still have people slap those together. Don't know why.
Not for long, I don't think.
Right? At the airport, you don't order from a human anymore. You order from a board.
Yep.
And there's no reason for that to not be slapped together by a machine.
Yeah.
Like if you can push a button and get coffee, you should be able to push a button and get a burger.
Yeah.
Right? So
100%.
It's almost like that Star Trek holo thing. It's just I order a burger and look, a burger pops up, right?
Yeah.
It's just much more complex than just, glowing lights and whatnot on a TV show. Or you can go have some fantastic burger made from a cow that the guy grew in his backyard and loved until it
Was a burger. Yeah.
Right? And then done in the right way with the right spices and cooked with love and care and whatnot. Right? And people will make those choices of, actually, all I need is a cheap ass coffee table. No, actually, I want a piece of art in my home.
Yeah.
Hey, I want music made by a boy band created on someone's laptop, or I want to go to a bar and listen to a schlep with a guitar.
Yeah.
Sing from an emotional place that, right? Sing from an emotional place that cannot be, has a fundamental human truth in it that I want to connect with.
Yeah.
I want to dance. Right?
No one wants me to dance.
No. But you get my point. I think both those worlds will exist. And maybe having the time to not collect garbage, clean the house, do the dishes, boil noodles will give us more time to think about the noodles we want to boil.
Unfortunately, my thought is there's a small and an increasingly small segment of society that can afford to have the fancy burger and can afford to make the choices of the artisan furniture in their homes. And maybe that gets us back to let them eat cake, Marie Antoinette, and revolution.
But the artist that's making those tables is probably doing okay.
Yeah.
Right? So it does shift from, I want to have a job where someone just pays me a wage. I go there, I slap out burgers, and I go home, to you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the rest of us to go figure something out that someone is willing to pay some of their non-basic income on.
Yeah.
And so I can foresee a situation where you've got these organizations that are slapping out stuff that people are consuming, making a disproportionate share of profits, right? Or the economy, being taxed in order to pay for basic income, which is really just going back to those same companies. And everything above that are the things that you and I have to learn to do to convince people to give us a share of their disposable income.
Yeah.
And so there'll be like a basic economy and the disposable income economy. And yes, there might be people that spend all their days in their parents' basements playing video games, complaining that they don't have any of the disposable income economy. No one's going to pay you to just think about you. Go learn how to cut hair and massage oil into their scalps when you do so. Like, you probably can go get a bowl cut, or you can have someone, I don't know, Brenda spends money on getting her hair done.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That guy is not worrying about his next meal.
Does this speak to finding something as a career, finding something that's fulfilling?
100%. This is why in my base level class on entrepreneurship, we spend as much time on opportunity identification, as much time as we spend on that, we spend on understanding your passions.
Yeah.
Because it's that, I do believe, especially in a world where gig economy and offering unique things is going to be a bigger portion of people's income generating abilities, that those two things have to be matched.
Yeah.
And the third circle I put on there is what you're good at.
Yeah.
I can have all the passion in the world at making music. We can know people that will give me money to make music, right? So the circle of, will people pay you money for it? And the circle of, do you care about it? Like, do other people care about it? Do you care about it? Great, look at that overlap. Are you good at it? Is the third circle in the Venn diagram.
Yeah.
And so use your basic income to try to get good at something that you're passionate about and people will pay you for.
Yeah.
That, I think, is a lot of young people's. And what's interesting is that doesn't have to be in the stuff the same way you and I used to think about it. It's not in making stuff or offering entertainment or whatever. It can be like being a schlep on a YouTube, like
an influencer.
An influencer. Like, there's people making. I used to poo-poo when students would come to me and be like, "Hey, I want to have a job doing this esoteric thing on the internet that whatever," and it's just like, I used to be like, roll my eyes and be like, just, why don't you get a job, right? Sort of thing, not get a job, but that sort of why don't you do something more traditional?
Yeah.
Shame on me. Shame on me.
Yeah.
There are people making money at these non-traditional things now. It's a new economy.
Yes. They are, and there has to be a dose of reality too. Right, you're not going to find someone that's going to pay you to eat Jell-O.
One person in the world can create a channel where they get a sufficient number of followers that they can make a income eating Jell-O.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, someone find me, put in the comments or wherever, to send us a link of someone who has a Jell-O eating channel,
or go make one.
Yeah, or if it doesn't exist, go make one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, podcasts are some people that make great amounts of money at podcasts, and then there's us. Right? It's different, right? It's not success is not guaranteed.
For sure.
That's true everywhere.
Yeah.
That's not just true in the new economy stuff too. But it's amazing what people can carve out. In this world where you can reach everyone, you can find a sufficient community to spend some of their disposable income on whatever wacky ass thing you came up with.
Yep.
I am constantly baffled by what people are spending money on.
Yeah, for sure. It was the longest time. You may remember this. A lot of the people watching this probably will not, but there used to be a product that was sold on commercials on TV called the Wacky Wall Walker. It was this plastic octopus looking thing.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
You threw it at the wall and it would just dribble down the wall, sticking to it. And somebody had to make that and get it to market, and lots of commercials for it. So they were making money. I was like, God dang, I need to come up with something like that. Or either that or come up with the holder that holds something in another piece, right? And it's just a little plastic thing that, you wouldn't either a clip on the back of a picture frame or something.
Yeah. And that
ideas are everywhere.
That level of design, that would require, going all the way back to the IP conversation that we had earlier, that would require, for you to make any money on that, where it's a thing that could be easily duplicated by someone else making that thing.
Yeah.
That would have to be IP protected somehow. But heck, when we all have 3D printers, hopefully then you can sell designs, right? Through a marketplace where it's like, hey, I need this clip thing, and I found this clip thing, and I'll just download the design. So it's all IP based, right?
So in HubSpot's marketplace, they now have a marketplace for templates. So newsletter templates, email templates, web page templates. And it's creating this economy of people just being creative, coming up with things, putting these templates up. They get downloaded, and the creator gets whatever, $1 or $5 or whatever. So pretty interesting. The economy has changed pretty dramatically.
This idea of gig work, I would consider that almost like gig work. This idea of your career is going to be a series of gigs, a series of making one-off things that probably have a temporary shelf life, and then you have to come up with your next thing.
Yeah.
As I know, I've spoken before, there are VCs I know that are looking for the first one-person unicorn.
Right. Yeah.
And if you think about it, that means everything is outsourced in some
Yep.
fashion, right?
Yeah.
So, almost by design, the outsourcing model has got to be a source of leverage, theoretically. So, everyone go do what you're best at, and then magic will happen. I don't know. I have yet to really wrap my head around it, I think.
Let's see if we can talk about it, because we outsource some, not a ton, and not core things. But if we had trusted partners that did, then I don't have any problem with it. I'd have some questions about how do you license that, because I want all the IP.
Yeah, I wonder if
But
we
I don't
could
want to
get
get when I'm hired. I don't want to give up IP.
Yeah. It'll be. They used to do process patents. It feels like they do those less because, hey, I've figured out a better way to bring together resources in order to produce outcomes. Feels like they're not really patenting that the way they did there in the 80s and 90s. And theoretically, that would be like, hey, I've got a way where one person can build cars. Right.
Do you track patent stuff? I don't ever look at that.
So I think I'm more on the Elon Musk side of patents, where he doesn't believe in them and doesn't invest in them, doesn't spend time making them. And
he doesn't patent his battery technology or his cars or how his rockets can land.
I'm sure he probably has, but he talks about, right? There's our actual behavior, and then there's our stated behaviors.
Got it.
His stated behaviors, I think it was him. His stated behaviors are like, we don't patent. It's not what we do. And I can actually understand that because it's super. It feels super easy in today's world to come up with a new similar solution that's not patent infringing but accomplishes the same task, right?
Yeah.
It's just different enough that so then you spend a bunch of time and effort and money on a patent portfolio that all it does is make people take different routes to the end.
Yeah.
Whoopie-doo.
Yeah.
Like that seems like a bunch of wasted effort.
I'm trying to think if this is new examples that I have in my head or that I think about when I think about patents. Because it feels like you and I know people that have made millions from patents in licensing. And maybe that's just old information. And I think about particularly in cellular technology and the patenting, like how do you get email on your phone? How do you get data on your phone? How do you use Bluetooth to transfer
Bluetooth
pictures?
Itself, yeah. Yep.
So,
a base level protocol that becomes ubiquitous. You can ask people to pay a little something to use your highway because it's the easiest. It's already in place, and it's the easiest road to that destination over there.
Yep.
I think that's now fewer and far between.
They're working on a technology that will transmit energy, electricity,
Mm.
without wires.
Mm.
I'd want to patent the heck out of that.
Laser.
Oh, is that what that is?
I had. It's a. So they've been doing that since what, the '60s with shortwave not shortwave radio, but shortwave, where it's essentially a microwave.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of just cooking something in a small box, you channel those waves to a receiving location. The receiving location turns that into energy. And the first ones that were out there, a lot of the worker bees didn't realize what was going on. They thought it was information or something. They thought it was just like a radio tower. And so the guys would go out and it wasn't get a tan, but it was something like get a tan.
Cook their meals. There's a scene in a movie where somebody puts like their leftovers on a big satellite like microwave tower and cooks their meal.
So one of my dad's college buddies owned, I don't think he's any longer with us, owned a company called Raytelco, which does a lot of the repeating stations, and that's all microwave, but for information. And so those towers that flash on top of like Tiger Mountain and whatever that go up and over that's all Raytelco stuff.
But those are radio towers, right?
Those are information towers, yes. So I actually had a student group. No, different thing. A student group that wanted to manage space debris, track and manage space debris, because it's got to be a growing problem. And so I put him in touch with a company here in Seattle that is a ground-based laser company, and they're pre-revenue, they're developing a technology under, I think, Department of, it's now War, isn't it? Department of War.
Yep.
Under military contracts to use lasers on the satellites to recharge their batteries.
Huh.
So it's the same, right? Because it's
a really interesting idea.
Right? So in order to do that, in the vastness of space, like that's a lot of area, right? As you go from the planet, the surface area of the sphere created by your, even low Earth satellites, that sphere is so much larger than the Earth's surface, right? And then it goes out even farther and farther. So to be able to find and track a small device moving through space, so I'm like, hey kids, like these guys have got to have figured something out, like that they'd be great for you to talk to. I have no idea where that. I know that they stopped pursuing that idea because they just didn't think it was economically viable. But it's probably a problem that someone is solving or has solved.
It's a really interesting concept.
But yeah,
I bet you a lot of energy is wasted. Like so much energy is wasted now in the distribution and transmission of energy. Imagine if you didn't have the structure of wires and
it's got to be like light, right?
Super diffuse.
So for each X amount of distance from the light, because it's going in all directions, the amount of energy is that much reduced, right? I mean, it's amazing we get as much warmth as we do from our sun, being 7 days at light speed away. What isn't it, about a week?
I don't know how long it is.
7 days of light speed away from the sun, and even the moon, right? It feels like it's so close, but when you were to look at it on a size map, there is. I think it's in the UK. Don't quote me on that. I think it's in the UK. in Cambridge or one of those cities, they have um, a model of the solar system to scale.
Okay.
So there's like one place where they're like, this is the Earth, and it's approximately this big, whatever that is, 8 feet across, let's say. I don't know. And if the Earth really was that, where would the moon be? And it would be like 3/4 of a mile that way.
Huh.
And where would the sun be? It'd be like 14 miles that way. And Saturn would be if the sun is that way, Saturn would be like, and it's so they've
That's
got
pretty
these
interesting.
markers of here's where here's the
sun
relative here's the relative spot where this planet Pluto would be, and it's a huge distance. It's like 200 miles away is where Pluto is. It's like not even close. It's like in a field somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. So I think the scale of even the solar system is misunderstood. It's hard to wrap your head around. And so, yes, I can imagine that even pointing a laser where you've been able to really bring down that beam into just a couple of whatever's across.
Yeah.
By 12 miles out or whatever, that's got to be like you are painting your beam is wider than the entire surface of the thing you are shooting at.
Yeah.
So to your point, I can't imagine a situation where that's a great way to move energy. But fascinates me that their batteries last as long as they do.
Yeah, we get the shitty batteries.
Like, I don't know what's the battery on a satellite, but the fact it's delivering television, email, videos to me, and I'm uploading all that's right because I use Elon's little thing out of my farm. Starlink, yeah. The in the ground stuff was put there so many years ago. My fastest option is DSL.
Okay. That doesn't seem like it's fast enough.
No, it is not fast.
Starlink working them off for you?
Starlink's working great. There is a period at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, almost every night, where it must recycle or it's changing. I thought the satellites were. Do we spin inside the satellite, or does the satellites go with us? I thought there was some sort of.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. There's something that happens at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night where it seems like it goes down for 5 minutes each time. Maybe they're rebooting the system or doing things. Maybe it's something else, but maybe it's operational. Is my
YouTube
point.
TV works fine on Starlink.
Yeah.
Huh.
There was a time during COVID when both kids were home. They were doing video links. I was doing video links where I'm like, okay, this is using way too much. So I still have the DSL. And then I even got a cellular, a 5G hotspot through AT&T. That was expensive as heck, but we need to get in touch with people.
Yeah, we use Verizon Cellular here for our internet, and it works pretty good.
Okay. This hotspot in 2020, $250 a month or something like that.
Oh my God.
It was absurd.
Wow.
Got rid of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are we supposed to be talking about?
AI.
Right. Yep. AI in the workplace.
AI. What role should AI and automation play? Yeah, that's interesting. What role should AI and automation play in small business today? Should, I think, it feels like it's
is the word with emphasis.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know. It feels like it's like a value statement.
There is a lot of that, though. There is a lot of that.
Yeah.
I've had a number of young people say that it is not appropriate to use large language models.
So okay, so let's start and then get into this because
More young people than middle-aged people.
it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Worries me quite a bit.
I've had at least one I know swap, and what's interesting is they use
DeepSeek.
and are very happy with the results. And I'm like, but that's China, because apparently I'm that guy now. And they're like, yeah, but you're
That's why
like,
I'm not on TikTok.
that was their point. They said, but Richard, you spend like 2 hours a night on TikTok. I don't. But you spend, it's longer. And it's like, so they got you covered, Richard. Now they have me covered through DeepSeek. And so, yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter which large language model you use. They are all spying on you and using your and so you just have sold your soul.
So there's a really interesting thought this brings up. DeepSeek, very efficient, really inexpensive large language model from China. Um, pretty popular, particularly in Europe. There is a theory out there that so about 40% of the value of today's U.S. stock market is tied to AI.
Mm.
The U.S. economy is essentially a big bet on AI today.
Mm.
The value increases have come from the Magnificent Seven. Many, if not all of those Mag 7 companies are making huge $1 trillion bets on AI. So it's all AI driven, driving the economy in large part. So if you're an enemy, let's say China. Thank you. Wouldn't it make sense? Isn't it true that it would be a great strategy to destroy our stock market, which is a proxy in most people's mind for the economy,
Mm-hmm.
by destroying the value in the Mag 7 stocks AI? You would do that by introducing better, cheaper, more efficient open source LLMs with little or no that have little or no cost. No shooting war. I mean, it would sow chaos through the economy. Imagine if those Mag 7 stocks worth 40% of our S&P 500 dropped by 70%. I mean, 401ks, IRAs, retirement. It would just be absolute economic chaos. Not that hard. So your student needs to use ChatGPT, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I hear you. Interestingly enough, interestingly enough, one of the primary reasons for using that particular large language model was the fact that it was their understanding that it wasn't using water the same way or something like they have their servers underwater in the Arctic, so you don't have to worry about it destroying our fresh water.
Yeah. These huge data centers that are being built are really impactful on water supply. They use water to keep
things cool.
Yeah, to keep things cool, and
what?
So water warms up, gets it ejected, and begins to impact. I mean, imagine where that's being released, even if it's in something like the Puget Sound. Huge volume is going to increase the water temperature.
Yeah, I've been surprised at. So that's my understanding as well, or at least that's what I'm told. Um, I've been surprised that because I'm old and I know internal combustion engines, which are water cooled, except if you have a
Air
Porsche
cool.
um, uh, or a motorcycle.
Have you seen the new Carmen Gias?
No, they making Carmen Gias again.
Electric. Oh, you got to go see them.
But that old 1960s VW engine
Yeah.
that was in like the Porsche 356,
Yeah.
the original Bug, the Carmen Ghia, with the twin straight pipes off the back, that it had a special sound to it.
Yeah.
There is a part of my heart that breaks open not breaks, but breaks open when I hears that sound. Like that is a magical note.
What if we could digitize that?
Yeah, because remember, my dad had two. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that Carmen Ghia, I like that Carmen. The Opal, it had a slightly different engine, but similar sort of style and timing and whatever.
Yeah.
Which was a GM model. It was the Opal. Those I just like those. Anyway,
You got to see. You got to go look for images.
I will.
The 2026 Carmen Ghia.
Again, if it wasn't for me, I need to buy something for Brenda that's actually for her.
Let's call it a Carmen Ghia.
Yeah.
I was disappointed to learn that they think the car hasn't been announced yet, but there's pictures of it. MSRP of $95,000 for the electric.
God! Why? Anyway, what were we talking about before we got on the Carmen Ghia? The large language model and the use of water. I don't understand why it's not a closed water system like your car's radiator. Yes, the heat would go out and warm the planet and whatever bad things there are, but you're not actually wasting water. I don't understand why it has to be an open system, like raising a trout in Idaho, where they box off a section of a river. The water continues to flow through, but the fish can't get out, right? And so it's constantly fresh water coming through because it needs super high oxygen. It needs to be cold water. It needs, right? I mean, trout are a little finicky. Delicious, but finicky. I can't imagine a server is finicky to the water quality. This is your radiator.
Probably not the water quality, but certainly the water temperature, if the whole purpose is to reduce the temperature of a room.
Yeah.
Or a server itself. So I guess you're just talking about increasing the volume of water so that you're dissipating the impact of the heat, because the computer heat or the server heat is constant, 1 billion degrees. If you try to dissipate that with a cup of water, it's not going to be very effective. You're going to need millions of gallons.
But even millions of gallons in a closed system, then you're not burning through.
But how does the heat dissipate?
Through a radiator or something at one end. Even if it goes into a lake and then back in. Geothermal, pump that water through the ground and then back in. Like you do need a pump.
Yeah. I don't think they've invented those yet.
Okay. I'm just saying it seems like a silly problem.
If you're an engineer that deals with these sorts of problems, please put in the comments.
Yeah. Why?
We don't clearly have any idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, why?
So it would be good to know. All right.
It's 2026 over the whole year. What will happen to interest rates?
Oh my God! With the new Fed chair,
this time next year, what are we going to look back and say?
0.5 point for the full year. Probably in 2 tranches, so 25 and 25. That new Fed chair is going to want interest rates to drop to nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I'm thinking a full point. I'm thinking a half point because of real reasons and another half point because of political reasons.
Yeah.
So I'll go with a full point
Okay. I'll go with a half.
because I agree with you. If it was any other outside of politics, it's probably a half point worth of. That's what the number should be.
Yeah.
Based on our thoughts on the economy.
Yeah.
And then you add another half point for political expediency, and you're full point, half point, full point. And last time we said Christmas is going to be bad for the low end, good for the high end, and on my side it was I don't know in the middle, and I can't remember what you said.
I can't remember what I said either.
Yeah.
My
Look at that video.
I thought on the middle.
Or did you just have it bifurcated into?
Yeah, I think I probably chickened out.
You just the upside and the downside.
Economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a middle in there.
Yeah. That's good. All right. So that is our episode for today. Please join in the conversation and comment if you like what you're hearing. Please send this to someone else. Let's get some people talking about it. And thank you. We will see you next week.
Bye bye.
Audio Jungle.